Toyota's first mass-produced electric vehicle, the bZ4x, is coming to America summer of 2022. We know a lot about this electric vehicle, from the platform to the motors, the battery packs, etc. We don't know pricing. Well, hold the phone on that one. We're starting in Cyprus today, thanks to a viewer of mine, and I love you guys around the world. It's just incredible that we're able to share in this passion for Japanese and Korean cars globally. Cyprus has been sharing on their site pricing for the bZ4x for their market. So we're going to go over to Cyprus's Toyota page, and we're going to have some fun going down the rabbit hole, converting prices today and comparing packages. We know that we're getting two packages for America, and that's XLE and Limited. And packages change everywhere around the world. Even if you go to Canada, the packages change quite drastically. So if we're looking at the active here and the style, the XLE variant is kind of in between them, and the lounge is going to be even higher than the Limited that we have here. Now there's another page that Toyota has where you can kind of build your own EV, and they include a wall box. Well, you can buy it with a wall box. We're not going to go to that sort of length today. So here we have the active two-wheel drive. This is starting at 46,000 euros. Style and lounge can both be had in all-wheel drive. In America, our XLE will be able to have all-wheel drive. I'm like 99% sure, as well as the Limited, of course. If we compare this style here to the XLE, for example, we know we're getting the panoramic roof on it. We are not getting a power back door that I'm aware of, because the XLE build that I was in Encinitas, California, did not have a power back door on the XLE. Doubt it had rain sensing wipers. I know it didn't have the triple beam LEDs. It's funny because that's like a Lexus term. Only the Limited will have those triple beams. I don't remember seeing parking sensors on it. Doesn't mean they're not there. It does share the larger 12.3-inch screen, and it also partial synthetic leather seats. It does not have a wireless smartphone charger for the XLE. It could be an option, but don't get your hopes up too much. Now, the lounge competes very well with the Limited grade that we have here, the 20-inch wheels. I don't know if this advanced parking, remote parking, is going to be available on our Limited or not. When Subaru showed off the Solterra, it had all of these features on it, which is the same vehicle. I just don't know if those features are going to be coming to the Toyota side of things, at least at launch. We know it's going to have a panoramic view monitor on the Limited. It does have full synthetic leather seats that are called Softex leather seats. It does have the JBL and blind spot monitor. Don't remember if it has memory seats on our Limited. I hope you guys have your snacks and drinks, because we're going to spend a lot of time here. It probably took me over an hour to make this spreadsheet. So focusing on the far left column here, we have 5 different bZ4x options that are going to Cyprus. We'll have 4 different options. We don't get this active one here. It's more of a blending of the active and style that the XLE is that we'll be seeing. But anyways, this is the pricing for those vehicles in Cyprus. But what I also wanted to do to get an idea of how these prices are going to translate in America is take some vehicles that we already see in both markets. The RAV4 Prime, the Style Plus, is like our XSE model. The RAV4 Hybrid, the Highlander Hybrid, the Corolla Hybrid sedan. They also get the hybrid hatchback, which we don't get here. And the Prius. Now, Live is another package for them. It's kind of like their base package. Now, when you convert it directly to US dollars, that's what this column is. It doesn't really shake out, because those aren't the prices that we see for those exact same vehicles or similarly built and equipped vehicles here in the United States. For that is what this column is for. Now, you also have to keep in mind that if you buy a vehicle in the European Union, which Cyprus is a part of, there is a 20% tax that is included at the purchase of the vehicle, at least as far as I'm aware. I've never bought a vehicle in Europe, so I don't know exactly how it works, but I know there's VAT, which is their version of sales tax. But when you strip out that tax, prices get somewhat similar to what we see here in America. Look, 42.8 for a RAV4 XSE, and it's 42.4 here, including destination. The exceptions would be the RAV4 Hybrid, which I believe they get a front wheel drive RAV4 Hybrid. Could be wrong, but the price differences are quite noticeable there, as well as the Corolla Hybrid. and they're equipped pretty similarly from what I've seen. But the Highlander hybrid is right there with the pricing, and the Prius pricing is a little bit under what we see here. So from what I'm seeing, the smaller cars in Cyprus cost a little bit less than the smaller cars we see here, but their bigger cars cost about the same once you take out VAT and sales tax, of course. So comparing price before VAT and price before sales tax here in America, our vehicles here in America cost roughly up to 5% more or so. So I applied this additional 5% to what we're seeing here, pre-VAT prices on the bZ4X, and this is what we see here on the right, 39,303. Now, again, that is for the front wheel drive XLE-ish active. Now, our XLE will be a little bit more better equipped in theory than that active, more closer to the style, but without the triple beam headlights and the wireless chargers and the power rear door. So you could say, well, if you just average them out, it's around $41,000 for the XLE bZ4X front wheel drive. What's crazy is they're charging the equivalent to $2,500 more for the all-wheel drive variant, which makes no sense to me. Think about it. You take out the larger 150 kilowatt motor, you give it two different 80 kilowatt motors to power the front and the rear axles. So you get a little bit more than 10 horsepower in the all-wheel drive car versus the front wheel drive car. But in terms of materials, you would think be fairly similar in pricing of materials for the large 150 kilowatt motor and the two separate motors, which equal 260 kilowatts. But it looks like Toyota thinks they can charge what would be equivalent to $2,500 for that upgrade. And it's the same thing on the lounge model, their top of the line, their luxury model, fully equipped, decked out. And then looking to the right here, if you want to apply that federal tax credit, God willing, you can take advantage of the full $7,500 tax credit here. It brings the price down significantly. But all the other competitors other than like Tesla and General Motors, they all have the tax credit for $7,500. So we're looking though at the low 30s after the tax credit, which isn't that bad, because if you keep the tax credit in there and you look at a RAV4 hybrid, it looks like it's going to cost, I don't know, $2 to $4 more grand for a fully electric bZ4X, but you're not gaining any power over the RAV4 hybrid. In fact, you're losing a little bit of power, and you're going to have a different strategy if you're taking long road trips, things like that. All right, this is my third take with this spreadsheet here. Not only is it brand new, I am still making sure the prices are right. I just found out the Tesla Model Y is like $4 grand more expensive than I thought it was. Prices change on those Teslas, you know. So anyways, guys, here we go. Third time's a charm, and we're going to go over this list. Brand new list, a little bit easier for you guys to read. We have an entry tier. That's where the bZ4X and the Solterra follow into. Range tier, fast tier, and a warp tier at the bottom. Now I have mostly vehicles that compete with each other. I don't have any ridiculous like Lucids on here or Rivians, nothing too exotic. These are pretty much the manufacturers that I talk about, plus some direct competitors like the Chevy Bolt and the Volkswagen ID4 and the Tesla Model Y, as those are pretty hot cars right now as well. No pun intended on the Chevy Bolt. So Toyota is coming into the mass production EV market with a base entry battery electric vehicle. They're not coming with a performance car. They're not coming with world-beating specs. They're taking the most Toyota road possible, which is very conservative, and focusing and hammering on reliability, saying that their battery will be able to go 10 years and still have over 90% of its capacity. And then they also just came out this week saying that it will go a million kilometers or 660,000 miles or so, and have over 70% state of charge, or should I say volume of the battery capacity, which is just unreal. No one else in the industry is talking about battery longevity that I'm aware of like Toyota is doing with this bZ4X. So that is not something that gets people very excited. People want to know range and acceleration and horsepower. because we're all a little simple-minded, but we know that more importantly than all those things, reliability is number one for the average buyer. We're not talking about people who are buying exotics or $100,000 vehicles. No, we're talking about the pragmatic buyer who wants a vehicle to last as long as they need it to, whether that's 10, 15 years, or 3 years. So let's get into this. bZ4x front wheel drive, and even the all-wheel drive model is very conservative. Both are entry level, and we're assuming that it's going to be around $40K for the front wheel drive based off of my last spreadsheet and those numbers coming from Cypress. A couple things I want to mention here is we don't have the torque numbers for the front wheel drive bZ4x, and all the range numbers you see on this list, I primarily look at Edmunds' real world testing list, and the EQ has 450 plus, has over 420 miles of range, just smoking everyone. Anyways, I take the numbers from here, and I love that they compare it on this graph with their EPA numbers. Tesla's almost always hitting below their EPA numbers, and all the other manufacturers are hitting quite a bit above, in most cases, over their EPA estimate. There's a lot, it sounds awfully fishy to me, but if Edmunds doesn't have the range numbers for this specific car, I take the EPA ratings. Okay, with that out of the way as well, you have to also keep in account that the Chevy Bolt, as well as all the Tesla Ys that I have on this list, do not have the $7,500 tax credit available to them. It's all been used up at this point. Every single manufacturer at this time of this recording, other than those two brands, have an additional $7,500 tax rebate. I was looking at the $37,000 SL Plus Leaf, which makes it a $30,000 car. Simple math on that one. And assuming these prices are pretty accurate, Toyota and Subaru have very competitive products on their hand, going toe to toe with the ID4 and the EV6 Ioniq 5. Now, this is the standard range Ioniq 5 EV6. I don't know if it's going to be available at launch. Some people didn't think it was coming to the United States, including myself. So this power number might even be nerfed. So just this whole column here, just stay tuned on that. But I do believe they'll eventually bring it to the market. The Mach-E standard range is the most expensive vehicle in this tier, but it has by far the fastest acceleration, not even close, at 5.8 seconds to 60. Now, the range is pretty decent as well, 264 miles of range. I'm telling you, like, the standard range Mach-E looks like a complete steal in this range, especially if you can take advantage of that $7,500 tax credit to the fullest. And I'll just scroll down so you can see these other tiers. I'm not going to go too much into them at this point in time because the video's title is mainly Toyota and the bZ4x, which the bZ4x has no business in these other tiers, which focus on long range. So I would say over 300 miles or so. Ridiculous acceleration and extra ridiculous acceleration. We probably won't see a Toyota product in these sort of categories until, I don't know, Lexus has more offerings with battery electric vehicles. I'm willing to wager that Toyota will have a lot more entries with the bZ4X in this entry tier before they have a long range vehicle, a fast vehicle, etc. But anyways, Toyota focusing on reliability, keeping costs down, keeping price of entry as well down in theory as much as possible, costing around $40,000 for the front wheel drive bZ4X before the tax credit. So now that we know just about everything about the bZ4X, instead of packaging at this point and official pricing, even though we're very, very close, I believe, what do you think of the bZ4X? Do you like the way it looks? Do you like the minimal interior? Do you like that we'll be getting an XLE and a limited? Are you okay with 200 and so horsepower, whether it's front wheel drive or all wheel drive? Is 230 to 250 miles range enough for you? I can't wait to see you guys down below to talk about it. If you made it this far in the video, haven't smashed the like button, you know what to do. Subscribe for more Toyota, Lexus news updates, as well as all the other Japanese and Korean automakers. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.